This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Judge Tom Lacrosse. Good morning, Judge. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. And today we want to talk about something very, very important. It's about, as we're taping this, the video's already been released. There's been a press release about a wonderful video that was produced here in Northern Michigan called the NAS video, and it's about a very important subject, babies being born addicted to medications, drugs, substances.
Correct. Yeah. The babies are born addicted because their mothers used illicit drugs or some kind of opiates while they were pregnant for the child. And so at the same time that they used, they were automatically delivering that drug to the child, and the child, in a sense, was using. And when they're born, they no longer have that drug delivered to them, and so they automatically go through withdrawal. And it's a very, very tragic circumstance.
Well, when you sent me the link and I watched the video, I was appalled at the statistics for Northern Michigan. I mean, who thinks that we have that many babies being born addicted to, as you said, opiates or illegal substances? Yeah,
we are very conscious as a society to the Zika virus, causing all kinds of birth defects. And we should be, because it does. And we are also very conscious about the birth defects caused to babies who are exposed to the water in Flint, for instance, causing birth defects.
Yes.
And we should be, the lead in the water. What people are not aware of, and they should be, is that in this country, every year, almost 25,000 babies are born withdrawing from drugs, addicted, And people are not really aware of that, but we have to do something.
And as you said when we were talking earlier, that baby born is a lifetime of medical health issues, problems for the rest of their life.
Yeah, true enough. And not only do we have an issue at birth for this child, but then as they go into the schools, there's learning defects that have to be responded to. And likelihood is that a large percentage of those children who are now adults will not enter the workforce because they can't, they're disabled. And thus they are entitled to and eligible for Social Security disability, things like that. So in a sense, over the lifetime of the person who was born addicted to drugs, we spent millions of taxpayer dollars to respond to that person.
So you, as a court system, you get a call from a NIC unit somewhere saying, okay, we have this baby, we can tell there's substance issues here, he's addicted. What happens next?
Well, it's a mandated report. Okay. When a baby is born at Mid-Michigan, or what used to be called Alpena Regional Medical Center, and that baby shows signs of addiction, and there may be chemicals or stool that shows that baby's addicted, then those hospital folks have to call CPS, Department of Health and Human Services, and make that referral, and there's an automatic investigation. And the court then takes jurisdiction of that situation to protect that child and make sure that child is not released to this mom, but rather their addiction is responded to appropriately.
Okay, so why do you think that we have such an increase and such a rise on addictions, babies born addicted in our area?
I think that our area is a good indication of what's happening in American society all over the country. And that is, we're seeing an increase in opiate addiction. And as a result, one of the implications is that babies are more born addicted. For instance, we've seen quite a rise in the past 5 years, actually about a doubling of the number of babies born addicted to drugs in the past 5 years.
Watching the video and listening, it's not a certain race, it's not a certain religion, it's not a certain or obviously female, but it's widespread.
Oh, it is, and it's very hard to get a handle on how you respond in that circumstance. I think the video is what we landed on as a good response.
Yes.
You know, John Keller and I, the director of the Department of Health and Human Services, talked about this issue 2.5 years ago, and we're frustrated, you know, and how do we respond, and thus the development of the video.
And I would encourage everyone to watch the video because it's up close and personal. It's got Alpena people, Alpena video in it, and it makes it real. It's very poignant. And so how can people see the video, Tom?
Yes, I think the easiest way to get to the video is if you Google YouTube, quote, stories, not secrets, unquote.
Okay.
That'll lead you right to the video, and you can go to that.
So how can people just, you know, not maybe in the court system or not at DHHS or, you know, Child and Family Services, how can we help with this problem?
I think that that was one of the tasks, is to make the information very easy to get to and disseminate the information. So a citizen, anybody who's interested, can go and view the video and then share it with as many people as possible.
Okay.
Because not only young people who are involved in this risky behavior, not only do they have to know, but everybody in society should know this is an issue.
So once you get that baby, you get them in a safe environment, then you start linking the family and caregivers up with all of the services that will be needed.
Correct. Yeah. Once we identify that this is the problem for the baby, okay, then we help those who have the problem as well, and that is drug addiction. To not this isn't their first and only baby, no. Probably. Yep. They're going to have subsequent children, and we don't want those babies born addicted to drugs, and therefore we have to work with the mom and oftentimes the father too to make sure that they're free of drugs, the influence of drugs.
Okay. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I want to thank you very much for being here, and thank you and everyone at the court and all the agencies that are helping for the video and for all that you do to protect the children in our community.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll be right back with some information from Child and Family Services following these messages. Hi, I'm back with Paul Mosseri, who is the Executive Director of Child and Family Services here in Alpena. Good morning, Paul.
Morning.
Kind of poignant that I have you on today after just having Judge Lacrosse and the NAS video and, you know, the wonderful things that you folks do in foster care. So you're involved in this whole process too.
Well, yes, we were chatting beforehand, and it's remarkable. I mean, we have a couple families where we can see the situations evolving right in front of our eyes, you know, where the kids are in care and the mothers are addicted and they can't seem to recover from their addiction. They're at risk of losing custody of the kids that they have in care, but they're still using, and then they become pregnant.
Yes.
And they're using drugs, and so we can see the very scenario unfolding in front of our eyes that his video addresses to try to bring awareness, increase the awareness to the community, especially the young people, to try to avoid getting themselves caught up in these circumstances where they could be facing the same risks.
Yeah, and having your children taken away and placed in foster care, I mean, what a to me, that would be the worst thing that could ever happen to me in my life.
Yes, you know, in the recovery treatment field, they talk about, you know, bottoming out, right? You would think that that would be a bottom
would have to
for
be.
an individual after perhaps already losing their jobs, losing their spouse, now losing their children. You would think that that would be a sufficient wake-up call to influence a person to get into recovery and recover from their addiction.
Right, or stop having children.
Or yes, yeah, it's difficult to understand the values of some folk who are caught up in that.
Right,
addiction.
and like we said, there's no race, no religion, no education level. It's so widespread.
It's very distressing, and it's as Judge Lacrosse said, it's becoming an increasing problem in our culture. I guess through through the affordability of opiate drugs, yes. It's becoming a very difficult challenge.
And today we want to talk about Walk Me Home. It's a 5K walk that you're doing. So tell me about the walk.
Well, yeah. So it's our annual fundraiser It's a 5K, which is, as many know, 3.1 mile walk and run. So we have partnered with the National Foster Parent Association, who sponsors this event. It's the signature fundraising and awareness event for foster children across the country. So it's a national event to raise funds, to provide services to the over half a million children in foster care across the nation, about 13,000 of which are here in Michigan. And so we want to partner with them, and the Grace Lutheran Church has come alongside again this year to partner with us in helping to promote and operate the event on the day of the event, June 11th. Saturday, June 11th at 9 o'clock over at Duck Park. And so we're looking for people in the community to come out and join us, do the walk, do the run. We're giving awards to the first place male and female in the race. Hopefully years to come, maybe age range awards as well.
So people go out and get contributions and then bring them the day of the race? How does that work? You can hold that one up now.
Yes. And so, yes, people can register at the event on June 11th, or they can go to this website and register there. You can go here and you can create a team and compete with perhaps other organizations in town. We're hoping that maybe some other organizations will put teams together and come out and compete with one another. And but you can go here and register, or just make a donation. Not everybody can be a foster parent. I still marvel at those who choose to be, and I just am so impressed with the calling, that some have to be a foster parent and take care of the kids who come into their homes. But not all of us can do that, and so, but we can all contribute in some way to help improve the lives of these children.
Okay, and we were going to talk about some updates that you had for us too, things that are going on.
Well, happy to report, Meg Nisbet, our development director, she would probably have been here, but she is in Baltimore right now attending a week-long training for treatment foster care. When you think in terms of a continuum of care or levels of care, that we often think in terms of, kids who come into care being in the least restrictive environment. So foster care is a situation which we consider least restrictive, because the kids are placed in a community with a family, as opposed to maybe a residential facility or detention for kids who get caught up in problems with the law. So, but it's a pretty extreme, between that least restrictive and then the most restrictive of residential. So in the middle is treatment foster care. It's still community-based, kids in foster homes, but kids with maybe more difficult behavior problems that require a more intensive level of care. So we want to contract with the Department of Health and Human Services to provide that service. Very few agencies in the state do it, and it's a tremendous need, because it's not a good idea for kids to have to go into residential. They sometimes learn things that they would not have learned if they didn't have to go in there. It's better if we can keep them in the community in a family setting as best as possible.
Well, the ultimate goal is reuniting them with their family, but when they can't, it's wonderful that the foster parents are there. And the thing that I love about your agency is that every foster family is trained. They know how to deal with issues, how to deal with problems, and they always have backup and support.
Yes, indeed. The other thing then, we got the $90,000 grant. You might have seen the paper, for the Day One program in Alcona County. So we're really excited about that. It seems to be such a viable program. It's so successful. None of the families to whom Brenda and Sue are providing services to down there have lost their kids to foster care placement. So it's probably hard to measure those things sometimes, but there have been, some of them are subject to CPS investigations and complaints, but in all cases, we've been able to preserve the families.
Yay.
The ideal is, on the front end, we wish there was more money available in the state to prevent out-of-home placement, preserve the families, keep the kids and families intact. And that program has proven to be very successful with that, but we have to rely on grants and community support. And I appreciate the community support that we had in the interim between the loss of the Kellogg Foundation grant in September, with now this new grant. We were able to stay afloat, with just the community support.
Now, someone out there is listening and saying, I have extra time, I have extra space in my house. I would really like to become a foster family. What would their first step be?
Well, simply call us at 356-4567. Ask for Meg. She's extension 223. She does most of our foster parent recruitment.
Okay.
But it's a long licensing process. It's a long
As it
process.
should be.
Yes, it should be. It's not that way in many other states, but in Michigan, it's an arduous process, and the families are well screened. And it takes maybe up to 6 months, and we really invade your privacy, you know, and we want to know everything about you, but it's all in the interest of keeping the kids safe.
Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you very much for being here, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon. And hope people go to that website, sign up for the run, June 11th. It starts at the Duck Park. Lots of fun. Get teams and groups together and come on out and help a wonderful organization in our community.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm the president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Janet Benke, Human Resources Director at Besser Company, and a leader in the Northeast Michigan Human Resources Association. Welcome, Janet.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
it's
pleasure.
Nice to be here.
Pleasure having you with us. Last week, the NEMRA Association sponsored a very popular event, active shooter training.
Yes, we filled the Grantham Auditorium at ACC, so that was very positive.
Yeah.
A great turnout.
So, I mean, everyone who reads the newspapers and peruses the internet and watches TV hears about active shooter. Tell the viewers a little bit about who delivered the training, their expertise, and what you took away from it.
Okay. Well, this program was sponsored by NEMRA, Northeast Michigan Human Resource Association, and we invited or asked the incident management team, is the name of the organization, Dr. Kenneth Wolf and Marilyn Knight. They've been doing this training and helping out at actual incidents and as resources. So they've been doing this for years. In fact, we had them come in and do training at Besser back in 2000. So they've been doing this for a while and very qualified, very qualified. Dr. Wolf did an excellent job. This is a very big concern for everyone, for any organization, the community, the law enforcement, just everyone. It affects everyone, the whole community. And the main thing for Besser and the companies in the Northeast Michigan Human Resource Association is we have a duty to keep our employees safe. That is our utmost, most important thing that we can do is keep our employees safe. So that is first and foremost. And not only that, but OSHA requires us to provide a safe working environment. So when there were recent incidents that were reported in the news recently, we decided that it's time for some training and some refresher training for those who had already had it. So we learned many things from Dr. Wolf. We learned what is workplace violence, what does it involve, and how can we prevent it? And that's the main thing, is prevention. So first of all, just having your policies in place, like a harassment policy, having a policy in place whereby employees have a means of reporting, and also training managers and employees on awareness, and managers on how to address issues, talking with employees, listening, and just being aware. So first of all, you need that in place. And then, of course, Dr. Wolf walked us through some of the worst case scenarios that could happen. What if an active shooter came on the workplace? What can you do? And what can how can you train your employees for something like this? So we went through those various steps.
Is it Dr. Wolf's contention that most active shooters go to a place where they know the people that they're going to shoot?
Well, actually, it can be it can be a stranger that just comes in. It could be coming into a business, a retail, a mall, an airport. It could be a stranger. Or it could be a client, a patient, a customer, or it could be an employee. It could be a disgruntled spouse or a family member of an employee. So it can be any of those situations.
So this material about educating people on how to deal with agitations in the workforce pertains to trying to diffuse that sort of feeling.
Right. The prevention part of it is diffusing, recognizing the signs and diffusing the situation. So it could be just someone there's different signs. It could be someone who's acting belligerent or making some threats, or it could involve alcohol or drug abuse. There could be different signs that you want to watch for. And so diffusing is the best thing, and having that harassment policy in place and training people and making them aware.
Well, it's certainly something that we're aware of and think about at the college. We have a very open campus, and the doors are open, and students like it that way, and we like it that way. That does lead to a sense occasionally of vulnerability among some staff. And but I noticed that the Grantham Theater was virtually full, and with a wide array of people from the community.
It was, and it was interesting. We had a couple of breaks, and I talked to various people in the community, and they were wowed. I mean, it was a very good awareness program. Not only that, but he gave us good tips on, okay, what are you going to do if an active shooter comes on site? And you know, I mean, you can. If you could, the main thing is if you can evacuate safely, do that. You know, get out of the building. Don't let anyone try to stop you. Get out. Get someplace safe. And once you do, call 911. It's not always possible to get out, so you may be in a situation where then you should hide and hide and try and find. You know, if you're like in a copy room or a conference room, turn off the lights. Turn off your phone. Hide behind something large, don't make any noise, and you know, it might be a situation where you just hide. In the worst case scenario, and only if your life is in imminent danger, Dr. Wolf said, then you can fight back. If you can throw something or distract the shooter, or you know, in any way. Or if it's a group of people, if you can swarm the person. And again, and he stresses that only if imminent danger, there's no other way, you know, and your life is in imminent danger, then, you know, take some action.
Janet, thank you for that. I really appreciate your work with that group, with the Human Resource Association of Northeast Michigan, NEMRA. And thank you for your work there, and thank you for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts, Nancy Smitham and Don McMaster. For a list of events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on the community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.
The Talk of the Town furniture and set design are provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South in Alpena.